ever get poetry out of our blood, our system? Will poetry ever let us go? Welcome to another adventure in Guyanese literature. And let's welcome a multi talented young achiever, Tarik Braithwaite. Tarik, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Will we ever get poetry out of our blood?
No, to be honest, poetry is a part of our culture. When we hear poetry, we think back to the days where poetry would have been a voice. It would have been the character of many inspirational individuals that would have developed a platform for Guyana. So, in all honesty, poetry is something that is rooted within us and it has become a part of our culture. And in today's society, it is still relevant. And as we move forward, as we build as a nation, it can be that tool, that mechanism that can portray to the world what we as a Caribbean people stand for. So, in actuality, poetry is there, it's a part of us, it's rooted within us. It is something that is communicated and will forever be a part of our nation.
Hi, that's quite a mouthful.
Thank you.
Having said all of that, yet there are people who disregard poetry altogether. And poetry has evolved. There are different forms of poetry to meet almost every need. The school teacher, right down to the lay person,
Right,
speaking in your own language, your own vernacular, and things like that.
correct.
We'll talk about language just now and your use of language, and let's see how you dabble with that in your work. Influences in your work.
Right.
What turned you to, or what invited you? What aspects?
Right. To be honest with you, I have always been a writer. I can recall back in the days where I was a fourth form student, third form student. As early as age 14, 15, I was writing poetry. But it was not structured poetry in the sense that we could have took it and we could have critiqued it or we could have analyzed it to that point. But it was poetry in its infant form. And as the years developed, so did that passion grew. But in all honesty, writing has been a passion for me. It has always been a passion. I want to give thanks to my uncle, Mr. Chase, Henry Chase, of the Chase's Academic Foundation, because he was the one who would have aided me in, pursuing this writing passion. I can recall sitting for days and writing essays and these different short stories and I would have to hunt him down most times because he got so so tired, like, oh no, Tarek, here comes Tarek with another piece, right? And I think that fueled my desire to continue to persist. But it is not until I actually learned about my family history and what we stood for that I really understood what exactly my purpose is as a writer. So my great grandfather,
Yeah,
from my
we
father's
must
side,
spend some
right,
time on that. We must give thanks to our ancestors.
right,
Go
indeed,
on, the
yes,
history.
right. So my dad always told me of my great grandfather, uh, Mr. Malta McLaren, and some of the work that he would have contributed to Guyana. One of the most profound was his poem, and now national song, "O Beautiful Guyana." And it is not until I dived a little bit into our history that I got to understand that this passion, this culture is also within our DNA. I have uncles, one of my uncle, Barrington Braithwaite, a known historian and artist, would have also been one of those persons that have been trying to preserve Guyanese culture
Mm-hmm.
and our history through writing. And I have a few other persons within our family setting that would have been pursuing writing. I know his daughter,
Yes, yeah.
Makita Braithwaite, who got a position in
The Guyana Prize
the
for
Guyana
Literature.
Prize for Literature.
Right.
She would have also been pursuing this passion. So writing for us, it's not just only based on a passion or a fuel or desire to do it, but it's also our rooted heritage, something that we would have been persistent with and trying to continue down the line.
Right. And you've taken that to heart, body, and soul.
Yes,
And you've produced 2 volumes so far.
that's correct.
2 volumes trapped in thought.
Right.
Uh, I hope I hope you're on track. You open them up to us this
Right.
morning, and the art of blooming.
That's correct.
Right. So let's go right into sharing something from your first collection.
Right.
Reveal some of those thoughts that you're dabbling with.
That is true. I Trapped in Thought was my first publication, and well, we'll dive into a bit of it. The piece that I want to read this morning for our viewers was taken from page 19 of Trapped in Thought, and the poem is titled "The Old Timers Play on Words." Now, um, this poem to me is dear, and there has always been a controversy surrounding uh, modern poetry versus traditional poetry. Some of the greats have criticized the work of our modern day poets. They're of the
Free
belief
verse
that,
and yeah,
right, that they would have
dumping.
strayed from the professional standard that poetry maintains. And so I'm there, and I sat the day and I'm thinking, maybe I should address this in this book, considering that it is pertinent to most discussions, right? So,
It brings to mind, before you
right,
get into that piece,
right,
it brings to mind John Agard,
right.
who blasted the Queen's English
Right.
in a lovely piece. But go ahead.
The old timers play on words. Stop it, they say. The fervent chatters, the endless bickering in consternation of time that trickles down the mouths of the foolish. For they would never know why his lips need not hesitate to ridicule time. Decades of enmity has led them to believe that he no longer ticks with purpose, but he lived his days of servitude, 60 seconds at a time. As he recollects his magnificent grandeur, he stumbles in awe. But from the words of an elder to the mind of boys, he pities their intellect. Can they ever understand the passage of time? He ponders in his mind. With a bitter taste for culture, he thought so little of the ones incapable of poetic mastery. But what does he know? Remarked the blind to the deaf in a conversation with the foolish. He is as old as time.
I like this conversation. Writers writing back to other writers.
Right.
I like that conversation.
Right,
Getting into not so much battle, but as I said, a conversation.
right,
Right? And sort of making your point without without diminishing their point of view. Right?
right.
I like that one.
Thank you.
You are a poet with a vision for Guyana.
Correct.
Talk about that vision. What you want to do with your poetry
Right,
for Guyana.
right. So, in all honesty, uh, in my view, poetry is not what it was a few years ago. In fact, I feel as though that passion, that drive for poetry, even though it's there, it's hidden because there isn't a lot of avenues where persons can take advantage of. And so you have a lot of persons there that still maintain the culture and keep it alive,
Yeah.
but there's no platform to display that culture. And so what I have been working on or working towards is developing a platform where young poets, Caribbean writers can come together in a grand moment to celebrate the work of Caribbean literature. And I have already coined the name Express It, and it is geared towards finding the next Caribbean poet of the 21st century
Wow.
and centuries to come. And
Okay.
so I've been working effortlessly to do that. The reason why it's not fully established as yet is because I'm still in the process of bringing together a team that can organize uh, that initiative and put it into play.
Wow.
With my
Wow.
book,
Wow.
I have been trying my best to inspire a lot of persons. Um, my books, Trapped in Thought, more particular, it would have won the TCK Publishing's Best General Fictions.
Congratulations.
Thank you for 2021. And what I do, I write poetry to inspire. I write poetry, I use it as a tool to get writers who have been hiding for so long to come out and to see what I'm doing and also to pattern to follow in my footsteps. So I feel like in my representation, I'm able to create that culture of liking and to bring back a sense of
Right.
passion to our country
I hope
as
you
it is.
I hope you get through with that.
Thank
I hope
you.
you get through. I hope you get a help.
Thank you.
You need that help. You need that help. I
Yeah.
had a vision also,
Okay.
and a name, Silk Cotton Tree
Right.
Festival, just like the Calabash Festival in Jamaica.
Right.
I was hoping one day, that will materialize. Meeting on the
Right.
Silk Cotton Tree,
Right.
the halfway tree. Caribbean writers, the Guyanese writers meeting there.
Right.
Even they have to recreate the silk
Right. Right.
cotton tree.
Right. Yes.
Your other collection,
Right.
The Art of Blooming.
Right.
And we come to themes now, the themes you dabble in.
Right.
And I must congratulate you for choosing to look at the issue of womanhood
Right.
in your book.
Right.
Talk about the art of blooming.